Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, so we're actually going to be starting off with Avalanche and MATIC. As if you are a member, you know we went long on both of these, and I believe I actually made Avalanche, actually can't recall which one, but either one of these are free trade for all members in the Discord. But if you're in the Patreon, you got one of these as well, exclusively. So we'll definitely be taking a look at these two, as we're currently in the money on both. A really good position on Avalanche currently right now as well. And then of course we'll take a quick look at Bitcoin so we can get the overall view of what the market's likely to do. And then, we'll take a quick look at XRP, Ethereum, and maybe Luna. But we're going to focus on Avalanche and MATIC, and I'll try to keep this short and sweet. All right, so let's start with Avalanche. So, we see that Avalanche, is playing out the macro bear structure that we've been eyeing for the last couple of weeks. Here we go, breaks through sometime, April 22nd, and then since then, it's really just veered down, right? It's just veered down. It even broke through $69, $70 pretty quickly. Had maybe 1 day, 2 days where it respected the level, and then it just broke down. It made its way all the way down towards $53, nearing 53, was able to find some decent support at 55. And that's where we really were able to grab some. We front ran it a little bit. But we got towards the bottom down here. So we're decently in the money, very comfortable right now with Avalanche. And for Avalanche, I could actually see it coming all the way back towards $69, $70 if what I see happening on Bitcoin possibly play out. I'll go over that once we get there. But I'm definitely eyeing anywhere from $65, maybe $68, but $65, $64 is definitely an interesting place for me, where I'm thinking about probably best to take some profit there. Again, since Bitcoin isn't a macro bearish structure, we don't want to get too greedy when we're on the the other side of that structure, that trend. So I want to make sure that when we have a nice gain, when we do have the opportunity to take some money off the table, we want to do that. Okay, because even if I do see it coming all the way towards $70, I'm very comfortable just taking the money here. Okay, I don't mind watching go higher and then maybe getting an opportunity if it really goes high to find a short opportunity. Okay, it just does better for my mind. I hate buying something at a good level, think it's going to get to this level, and being wrong, which I am wrong all the time, and then just watch it get towards right here, right above where I should have sold it, and then just on one day just sell off completely under my my entry, bring me into the red, making me lose money. It's just not a great place to be, both for the account or your mind. So I've learned my lesson long ago, to take your money where it's most wise, and survive the market so you can trade the next day and be ready for the next opportunity. And that's what I mean when I say make sure you stay nimble, right? Stay nimble. So right now I do see it getting towards $64 to $65, and that's my current level where I'm interested in closing out the long for Avalanche. And of course $53 is still going to play a key role in support. Didn't really touch it as we came down, and mainly kissed it, just missed it, but it's interacting with that zone. But eventually, because I've been saying like this structure on the macro level is bearish for Avalanche, you will see a sub $50 Avalanche in my opinion. Again, it'll probably happen once Bitcoin starts breaking its structure to the downside, but we'll get to that in a second. First, let's take a look at MATIC. So just make sure if you're in the long with me with Avalanche and MATIC, you have proper risk management, and that you're paying attention to my alerts, and be ready to make your moves, take your money when you can. All right, let's take a look at MATIC. So MATIC had a really nice support bounce right here. So that's we front ran MATIC as well, just a bit, but we got near the bottom of this zone. We're not as deep in the money in MATIC as we are Avalanche, but I do see MATIC having some upside, going towards 124, 125. Again, not really where I want to really take the money. I'm really more interested in taking out at $1.15 to $1.18, somewhere in this general zone. If you see what I'm doing to decide that, you should be paying attention to this, right? So if you're wondering why am I pulling out, to tell you where I'm looking to possibly take my profit, it's because I'm looking at this candle here, right? So it might look just like a normal candle, but it's not a normal candle. Reason why is because it's a pivot. All right, so when you have low pivots, high pivots, they all have they're relatively important. Some are more important than others, but you want to make sure you have your eye on them, and if they're in a good place for you to take profit from your entry, definitely should target them. All right, you should definitely target them, just like these are pivots here as well. But this level here is definitely more interesting for us since we bought here, because it's definitely possible for price to get here and then just collapse. All right, and we don't want to be in the move. We don't want to be in this position where we are now when it gets to that pivot and then collapses. I would not mind if we bought here, gets to where it is right now, and then collapses, because what that means is we never got the chance to take profit at a high probability level, and all we can do now is focus on bettering our position, which is that minor exposure. We're talking about what, 1%, 2%. And we can add on at key support levels, which we have a few down here. Okay, I have a few marked already down here if that should happen, and same with Avalanche. All right, so you want to make sure when you realize the nature of the market you're in, especially that like I said, Bitcoin is in a pretty precarious situation in regards to going up when it's in a macro bear structure. You don't want to aim for the fences, try and hit a home run with these longs on the altcoins. You want to just take your money where you can and make sure that you recognize when you have hard drops like this. Like look at what MATIC did. Span of what, 2 days, came down to this pivot level, almost straight down. You buy at these high probability, pretty fairly significant support zones, you're gonna have a little shoot up. All right, you're gonna have a little shoot up. So you want to get into the habit of that. Don't be afraid, and the best way to not be afraid is to make sure you're trading with a relative small amount of money to you. If it could be 1,000, it could be 10,000, it could be 100 grand. If it's small to you, you won't have much fear in losing it. Okay, and once you get into the habits, in that way, you can start increasing your size. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin, as we can see, broke that ascending trend line, that green line, very important level, and now it's pretty much it's interacting with the bottom of the structure. Didn't really quite touch it. It's kissing that zone though, I would say. So there's interaction down here. As I've said, this will be a very high level of support, very high demand here to hold this structure. And in my opinion, you're probably going to see Bitcoin have a decent rise, maybe towards 40,000. Okay, I'm going to extend this green line out because I want to show you this. All right, so we're likely going to see a move towards 40,000. We might even get another drop down to hold this level. So you might get a wedge pattern forming, okay? And forgive me for the doodling, but you get I hope you get what I'm saying. But you might see a little bit more downside, all right? And then Bitcoin holding on to there and then curling up to come towards this green ascending trend line as resistance. So you could see move towards 40,000 to even 41,000. All right, depends on how fast Bitcoin comes up or how slow it comes up. If it just comes up from where it is right now, you'll probably see 40,000 to 40,500 before it break down, and then another test of this level. But let's just say it does break through and gets to 42K. That's actually in the cards, guys. That's definitely possible. It's not the most probable path, but it's not very unlikely either. All right, 42K can be revisited again. In my opinion, though, if 42K is hit, all right, then this to me tells me that we're going to have a drop down towards 40,000 and then another move higher, okay? And we're talking maybe even towards 50,000 or 45,000 and possibly 50,000, all right? Again, I don't see this being the most probable move at all, but it's definitely there. It's definitely there. We got to recognize it. But if that happens, that doesn't really change much, does it? Because look what we're still in. We're still in this bear structure. All right, we're still in this bear structure, so you got to keep that in mind. We'll play the move, of course. If you're following this Discord, we're playing the moves. No big moves are escaping us. If you're following me, you're catching everything on Bitcoin, just about. All right. So, you know, if that's what's going to happen, we'll be in that position. I will make sure we're in the position to profit from this. We will go long where we must, and we will go short where we must. But we do want to recognize that we're in a macro bearish structure. So even if we do have a major breakout from this level here, from 42,000, we want to make sure to keep it in perspective. Keep it in perspective, okay? Because you will hear a ton of bullish news. You'll have a ton of bullish behavior everywhere if that happens, all right? So, you know, if that happens, we'll be ready. But again, the most likely thing is that it gets to the green line, finds exhaustion, finds resistance, comes back down, and tests the orange line again, where eventually, you know, this orange line will break, but it will take some work. It'll take some work. How quickly, I'm not sure yet. Okay, I would think sooner rather than later, to be honest. Especially if, let's just say, the Federal Reserve goes forward with what it wants to do and raising rates. You know, then you're likely going to see Bitcoin eventually, not on the day, but eventually start feeling the pressure and then breaking down. All right. Yeah, I remember you probably won't see any major moves if the Federal Reserve actually raises rates, because the markets have priced that in. If, let's just say, the Federal Reserve reneges on that and, you know, softens their view of the market, then you actually will probably see Bitcoin go much higher. You'll probably see the whole market go higher. Okay, so that second scenario I showed you would make sense if that were to happen. You know, and if it does break lower, we're still eyeing the same levels as before: 33,000, 30,000, and then, you know, like 28, 29,000. All right, so we'll keep our eye on Bitcoin, of course. Let's take a quick look at XRP. So, oh cool, my previous doodles are still there. So as you can see, you know, I was showing you, you know, supply level, demand level, very, very high demand. You can see from all this activity here to here, and really this whole entire green box is you know, high demand, as I've been saying. And, you know, you're gonna see it's gonna take a lot for XRP to start losing these levels. I don't see XRP getting to 50 cents until Bitcoin actually starts breaking under that bearish macro structure, until it loses that orange line support. That's when I see XRP making its move towards 50 cents. Prior to that, I would be a bit surprised. Maybe some bad news would have to come out, you know, specifically about Ripple. But for it to actually make a move down to 50 cents, I still think Bitcoin probably has to break down. And of course, you know, if it has a bullish move, I think you can actually see XRP get all the way back up to 75, 76 cents. Okay, you know, you'll find some resistance at 69 to 70 cents around here, but, you know, I would not be surprised if you break through it and go straight towards 76. Okay, and maybe even 80 if Bitcoin starts breaking past 42,000, going towards 43, 44,000. All right, but, you know, you want to keep in mind that this is still overall bearish, and Bitcoin, nothing's really changing the story, so that will lend more pressure to XRP. You know, not including the other pressure it has all over its head regarding the lawsuit. Okay, but right now, in this accumulation level I've been saying, so, you know, probably watch this go sideways for a while, especially after this sort of move where you had, you know, what, 3, 6, 9, you know, to 10, about 12 red days, 12, 13 red days. I mean, you know, this definitely needs a breather. Okay, you can only fall so much. There's probably gonna be a bit of a bounce here. Might be a slow bounce, might be a weak bounce, but there will be a breather around here. You'll probably see this sit around 60 to 64 cents, something like that. And if Bitcoin has follow through to the upside, then you'll see it get towards those, you know, 70, maybe 70 plus cent levels. Okay. And let's see anything else. Yeah, let's take a quick look at Ethereum. So yeah, and like I mentioned before, good, the doodles here. You know, what I've been saying about this trend line with Ethereum, that it's very unlikely to break as long as Bitcoin stays above that orange zone it's been at. Okay, that orange level it's been holding as support, the bottom of that bear structure. Ethereum, this is very similar to like Avalanche. This is a huge structure for Ethereum, similar to Bitcoin as well. These are big, important structures. You know, if this breaks through and confirms, you will see, you know, sub 2,000 Ethereum. It's very likely. So it's going to be a lot of work to break under here. A lot of people who want to hold Ethereum up. This is going to be a very strong level to do it, the battle zone essentially. So, you know, we'll keep our eye on Ethereum, but right now, you know, holding it okay. Eventually, I do see it breaking, of course, because I do see Bitcoin breaking under. But right now it's holding, and I do think you might actually get to see a 3,000 Ethereum again. I do see that happening, especially if Bitcoin starts breaking towards 40,000 plus. So this is not a bad setup for a possible long. I was interested for a little bit, but again, I'm not a big fan of going long here. Especially because I was eyeing Avalanche and MATIC. I like their levels more. I would much rather like to go long down here at 2,300, because then I can add on towards 2,000 and maybe even sub 2,000, because the likelihood of it coming up at least back to 2,400, 2,500, or then all the way back up to 2,800 is actually really high. Okay, so again, I'm keeping my eye on Ethereum, but right now I'm not interested in the trade. I would really like for Ethereum to have a really strong aggressive move higher, because it would be a great short. It would be a great place to go short, because then we could start trying to target the break of this level, because it's been quite enough time for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, in my opinion. It's been quite enough time for these patterns to mature enough that I see them breaking sooner rather than later. Okay, let's take a quick look at Luna. Okay, so Luna. Again, Luna playing its game. Oh, and I actually want to take a look at ApeCoin too after this. So Luna, Luna's been interesting, but again, it's not really. It's playing out exactly as we expected, right? It breaks down from the all-time high. It finally respects the bearish wedge or bearish flag it was forming here. It finally breaks under, it comes back to 85, and what it hasn't been doing, it's just been holding this zone, right? It's been holding this zone as support, as resistance. It's really just trying to fight here. But you know what this tells me? That this is extremely likely to happen. All right, you're likely to see this come all the way down towards $60, maybe even sub. All right, so once Bitcoin starts, if Bitcoin starts breaking under that orange zone, that's where I see Luna coming. All right, towards $60, and again, it's a long-term trend line. If it breaks that level, which it probably will, guys, it probably will. I mean, you're gonna see all these zones that hit. But again, if you believe in something like this, then hey, these might be good prices. But right now, it's gonna hold this zone. It's just gonna range here. You're just gonna see it range here. And do nothing. So Luna's going to get boring for a little bit. It might be great to trade though on shorter time frames, just saying, but it's going to be a bit boring unless Bitcoin starts doing something. All right, let's take a look at ApeCoin, see what's going on. Look at that. So ApeCoin, ooh, let's go on the 4-hour, because not much data. Yeah, what did I tell you? I don't like saying I told you so, but I kind of told you so. Rising wedge. Very clear rising wedge, but as I warned as we were watching this form, a lot of pardon my French, a lot of bullshit, right? There was a lot of bullshit. I wasn't even trading this, and I was frustrated watching this on Binance mainly, but Bybit too, but Binance mainly. I mean, total fraud. I mean, absolute fraudulent behavior, totally illegal. By the way, not in crypto. It's not illegal in crypto, as there's not really regulations against this. But just the behavior in the order book. I mean, if you saw this in the stock, NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, or the CBOE or something. I mean, geez, people be. I mean, I don't know if people will go jail. I'm not that optimistic, but at least there'd be some halts. I mean, there'd definitely be some trading halts and some investigations. But yeah, it's crazy. The crap that was going on specifically right here was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you would see it come on the order. You would see like $20-30 million show up on the order book, push the algos who are chasing velocity, chasing volume to go long, and then all that money would just disappear off the order book. So they were really just pushing this shit. Oh, sorry, I'm trying not to curse, but just really pushing this thing. And then they tried to invalidate the rising wedge. That was clear. I mean, this was such a clear rising wedge. I mean, you had so much activity at these levels, and it was a very credible pattern. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to take a position, because I was actually worried, just because of how this was all trading. Like, I would normally want to short, as we rose higher. But I was worried that they could just push this higher and higher and higher, and they did. I mean, this is a crazy move from the break, right? So from where it broke out, they got to move another 34%. I mean, that's absolute nonsense. And then of course it just drops. right? I mean, the poor people who got trapped up here on this wick, you know, it's really tough to see sometimes, right? Because there's plenty of people who bought this. There's plenty of people who bought this, right? This breakout here. Let me clean this up a little bit. But, you know, there's plenty of people who bought this. And it's not really actually that incorrect to do so if you're a breakout trader. You know, you're buying the breakout of a bearish pattern. Normally, yeah, you know, it's not the worst decision. But, you know, again, this wasn't really organic, right? And then, you know, I mean, hopefully you would think that whoever, you know, bought this breakout here would have sold somewhere around here. I mean, that's a pretty decent move from where they bought. So almost 30%, probably around 30%. So, you know, if they didn't sell then, that's painful. But again, like if you were one of the people who bought up here, I'm sorry, you know, because it's rough. It's rough because the people who sold up here are likely insiders, people that are, you know, they have a lot of APE coin for however they may have it. You know, you can decide how they may have it, have that much APE coin. And yeah, they played the market pretty rough. And you know, look, it tried to respect the top of the wedge as support, broke under, tried again, and yeah, now it just broke through, right? And now it's just slowly bleeding down. It's slowing down, so it's probably gonna have a bounce at some point here. And as I said, you know, $15.50 is gonna be a decent level. And, you know, it broke under right now. I see it coming back there pretty quickly. It may even retake it again and then go higher. It's possible, of course, it comes to that 13 cents, 13.5 cent level. But this zone, so this zone between here, I think is going to be overall decent support right now. And I do see ApeCoin having a move, right? I do see ApeCoin coming back towards $17, $18. All right. Anything beyond that, I mean, it'll be really dependent, but it happened maybe $20, $19. It'll depend on Bitcoin. I think ApeCoin's had its move right now. But again, you know, the goal for the big money was to sell to the retail that was buying up here, and then, you know, to the retail that was buying up here again because they thought it was coming back, and then yeah, now retail is mainly holding up here, and the smart money sold, you know, all in here. So, and now the smart money is probably starting to accumulate down here. I mean, this isn't like, for me personally, this would not be a bad place to start buying. You know, start a long position. You know, not a long-term investment sort of thing, but like just a nice swing trade. Not a bad place because there's likely it's going to come up towards at least $16, $16 to $17. But I would target anywhere from there to maybe $18. So hey, you know, but I'm not going to trade this again because I don't trust the book. And I'm not too comfortable, you know, calling this stuff out for the Discord as like an official trade. I don't mind looking at the chart, especially if someone asks. But yeah, so you know, you just gotta be wary of this stuff. But this is why, you know, in my opinion, patterns, when you understand how patterns work in regards to time, because that's what most people don't really take into account, is time analysis in regards to price chart reading. They just look at levels. They don't really take into account time. But you know, once you start looking into that, things start making sense. That's why even when this broke out, you know, I didn't take the trade because I knew it was very unlikely for it to go that high. It was very unlikely to actually invalidate this pattern, and it didn't. It couldn't. There are rules to how this stuff works. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. I'm just gonna leave it there. Again, you know, if you're in the trade with me in regards to, you know, Avalanche and MATIC, just make sure you have those alerts set so you know if I, you know, post any updates and such. And yeah, all right. So everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.